Today's project on mvfourpause, we're going to be doing the secondary fuel filters on a Volvo Penta TAMD63 diesel engine. These are 370 horsepower. There's two of these in our Navigator 50. The year is 2002. We're doing the port side engine today. I'm at the center of the ship. I am looking to port. So this would be the starboard side of the port engine. The fuel filters are around all the way to port, right over here by the coolant tanks. We've got two of them. These are Napa 3. I'm replacing them with, I think they're wicks. I couldn't get the Napas locally. We're down in Marathon right now. So here we go. I have collected all the things we need for this install. So as I mentioned, filters are wicks 33358. We've got a paint marker to write date and engine hours on the filters after install. I've got a little disposable plastic cup and a plastic tube. I'll use this for bleeding. I've got oil absorbent, fuel absorbent pad, a few paper towels, 7/16 ratchet of some sort. It could be a combination wrench also. Filter straps. These have been on there a little bit and it just makes life that much easier. Of course, rubber gloves, because I don't like bathing in diesel. And a bucket just to drop the fuel filters. The other side's quite a bit easier. This one has the coolant right next to the filters, so that makes it so you can't get the bucket under there. I don't have another bucket, but maybe I could use... Yeah, I'll just do it this way. I'll do that and then transfer it over there. So let me put the camera up somewhere and let's get this going. So I'm going to try this camera angle sitting up on our water maker. So we'll see if it works out. All right, so we need to pull the first guy off. Strap around. I'm using this setup because this is all I have right now. I may end up getting one that actually fits it, but this works just fine for what we're doing. There's still a little room over here. There we go, that one broke loose super easy. We'll do the same to the aft filter. And I don't have a 1/2-inch ratchet. Oh, that one was super easy. That was done by hand. I don't have a 1/2-inch ratchet on board. I need to get that for the end of that tube. I know that's how they work. Okay, let's try the cup. Let's try to put this right here. See how much of this will be for. There we go. That's decent. Look at that. Let that drip for a little bit. To the next one. I do have that oil absorbent, fuel absorbent sheet right under this, optical diapers. There's also a whole bunch under the engine. After I do a full service, I'll change those out. I did forget to mention that I shut the fuel off the tank. Even though in this boat it would not gravity feed, I just don't want any chance of a gravity feed. I would take one of those paper towels, just clean that surface up, making sure not to leave any fibers from the paper towels there. I don't want that inside, but I just want a nice clean surface. This is a very clean boat, and these filters were done 100 hours ago last year, but it's a new to us boat, so everything's getting replaced, so I have a new benchmark. So there's the fiber. All right, so we got that. Okay, now we're going to take the filters, lube up the seal. I'm just going to use the diesel that I just had. Just give it a little bit of lube there. A little bit on the seal right here. Put these guys in place. These are calling for 1 turn or 3/4 of a turn after. So got that right there. I'm just looking at those numbers. That's a 1/4. That's a 1/2. That is 3/4. We'll go to the aft one. Well, just until she seats. You don't want to do them too much because then the next person will hate you. Those are all put in place. Make sure you clean them all up. You don't want diesel all over everything. Next thing we're going to do, I'm going to take that 7/16. I'm going to loosen up the bleeder. All right, it's loose. Now I'm going to put some gloves on and we'll get to bleeding. Got those filters installed. I'm going to take that little tube and I'm going to stick it onto here. This is where my cup comes in. I'm trying to bleed the air out, but I don't want to just pump the fuel out and then have it suck back in. So let me set this camera aside and I'll show you how we do that. Tube stuck onto the bleed nipple. I've got the end of the tube down into the cup. And then this is the pump right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's very obvious. It's a plunger. It's up forward or aft in this case on the port side. And I will give that a bunch of pumps and we will see fuel out of the feeder. Nice and slow. I did turn the fuel back on at the main tank. What I'm currently doing is pumping fuel into these filters. So that's pushing air out of that. There we go. So you can see how it's kind of a mix of fuel and air. If I do it this way, keep going. I'm doing this until I get nice, clean. It really doesn't matter how much of this I use. I put this fuel back into the tank. I don't reuse the fuel that was in the filters because those things did their job and I don't want any of that stuff that's in there to come back. I just take that to a recycling location. But I'm keeping the end of the tube down in the fuel. So we're at probably 30 to 40 pumps right now. I'm just looking for a steady stream. Cup's got about 1/2 inch of fuel in it. There we go. Just get little burps of air. And now the cup is slowly filling up. So it looks like we've got it. It's actually leaking out of my tube because it's not the right size. So I try and shut it by hand a little bit because I don't want air to come back in. And pop this tube off. Finish closing that. Get this cup and tube out of the way. I come back. My 7/16, just lightly seat that. Then the last thing you want to do is you want to give that pump a few more pumps until it goes hard. This is what I forgot to do the first time, and then the engine fought with me. So we're re-priming everything. Since this is closed, it's not going anywhere. But I'm just until it gets hard, which it's definitely hard to push on right now. So I'd call that a success. Next thing and last thing I'll do is I'll wipe this up, make sure everything's clean. I'll write engine hours and date on the filters. Then we'll go upstairs and start the engines. Here we have the date and the engine hours written on the filters. This is super appreciated by anyone who buys your boat after you do this. It gives them an idea, because often the maintenance records don't really get transferred across, like hours and when things were changed, but if it's written on the filters, man, it makes life much easier. Totally a pro move. All right, here we are on the lower pilot house helm, port engine, spin her over. Starts right up. I'm looking for oil pressure right away. We're at 500 RPM. I'm going to let it run for about 5 minutes just to make sure there's no air. The worst time to find out there was air in the system is when we'd be leaving the dock in a couple days. Last thing I do, I like to seal this up. I'll put my glove on, pull it down over the top. And this is just for transport so it doesn't leak all that fuel that's stuck down in there. So I do that, and then I've got it easily. I can take to the recycling place.